Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Well, folks, it would appear that even a dark and stormy night could not prevent the OTK faithful from showing up here tonight. We get prepared to bring you yet another edition of the League Night here at OTK. This is Caboose here, bringing you live from Wallingford, Connecticut. And yes, as I alluded to, the OTK faithful have shown in numbers tonight. Perhaps he win here tonight in the AMA, but it's not gonna be an easy task. As for the first time in months, we have 3 races. So we will have an A main, a B main, and a C main tonight. So the top 3 finishers, plus the fastest 4th place finisher across all 3 qualifiers, those will be the drivers that make up your A main. But meanwhile, as we look into this first qualifier that's just finally wrapped up, Mark L. He sits on the pole. So a really good, a feel-good one for him to see Mark L. on the pole. Sitting alongside him, though, is Firefighter, so a guy that has had his fair share of chances. He won the B main a couple weeks ago. So we'll see how he can do starting on the front row of this first qualifier. Starting in P3, though, we have Emma Baker, and then alongside her, we have Passmaster. So a bit of a surprise to see him down that far. Sitting down in P5, we have Danny D, so perhaps he can get back on the train, maybe jump up a couple spots and get into that A main and rekindle his hot streak. But sitting down in P6, we have P9, we have Peppers 58. P10, I believe we have, would that be? Someone new, very clearly, is the Logs, and then Heberto will round out your field in P11 as they finally make their way under the bridge. We are green flag racing here at OTK tonight. as already we see Mark L jump out to an early lead over Firefighter. Danny D getting the bumper there from Passmaster, so Passmaster has actually dropped back one spot. So Passmaster now sitting in P5. So he now has to at least make up 2 spots. If he runs the fastest lap, of course, sitting in P4, he could see himself in the A main, but we want to get up those extra 2 spots to guarantee that Pepper's making a pass on Bucco. But they remain a single file at the front of the pack. I feel like this one's going to be a really interesting one, as on my way here I had to deal with a few spot showers. And when I say spot showers, I mean showers. I was hydroplaning, so we'll have to see how that affects how the karts handle here tonight. I talked with a few drivers before they got ready to go for this first qualifier. Them said it was, so we're seeing the humidity stick to the track for the first time tonight, I feel like. Cars are not really sticking all too well, but despite all of the sliding we've seen in the first few practice races immediately preceding this race, we saw a few drivers get down in the low 37s. So we'll have to see now if anyone can match what they ran in those practice heats. As so far, we've yet to see anyone touch a 37. We see Mark L getting close. He's at a 38.064, so he's close to it. As Passmaster looking for every which way by Danny D. It's not quite gonna work there through the carousel. So yes, tonight, despite all the attempts that the drivers made, we're having a no frills, just a forward direction night tonight. So only 2 second place finishers will start inside of the top 5. So as it stands right now, Firefighter still sitting in P2, and he's actually, at least if she holds on to that spot, she will guarantee herself in the A main, but she now has pressure getting put on her by Danny D. So we're gonna have to see, but now Passmaster putting pressure even more so on Danny D, perhaps putting him in the wall, but he makes the pass there. We'll have to see if he has to give that spot back or if he gets a roll black for that. Yes, he will indeed. That is Passmaster getting a roll black for that pass on Danny D, but luckily for him, he will not have to give that position back. Now it's a matter of whether or not his lap time will stands 8.220. But as we said before, we have 2 other qualifiers left to go. So I don't know whether or not he really wants to play the waiting game, as he's already putting the blocking maneuvers there on. 2 of the top 2 finishers, or excuse me, the second place finishers. Only 2 of them will start inside the top 5. So really, we're going to see the best of the best in the A main here tonight, let alone the top 5. So yes, a lot of drivers making their return to OTK tonight. Perhaps most notably is Karsten, a driver who's well known in the Stafford paddock, while also having his fair share of wins here at OTK in its sister track, Monza. We'll see how he can perform here tonight after a long hiatus. Martinsville Muffin is another driver who returns after a week break, looking to hop back on the wagon and perhaps enter the top 3 in point standings over these next few weeks. But as Mark L has just passed the halfway point in this one, he now sits 2.1 seconds ahead as, oh boy, Passmaster trying to make the dive work into the new hairpin. Not quite gonna work. He might see yet another roll black. I don't know quite yet. I don't believe he'll see the roll black, but it definitely looked like there was a little bit more contact there than he would have liked. He was a little bit over aggressive going into the new hairpin, and that really ties up the battle between third through, I believe that might be P6, maybe P7. But meanwhile, yes, that would be the battle for P3. A 5-cart battle there, and then a good ways back from there, we see a 2-cart pack. That's a battle between Bucco and Peppers. As it stands, though, Bucco has maintained his position over Peppers. As now, meanwhile, we see Passmaster still trying to get by Emma Baker. He's almost putting on blocking maneuvers. Here he goes. There goes Passmaster into the new hairpin. He will get barely. He will squeak by Emma Baker. He will see himself in P3. So if he is able to hold on to that position, he will see him gain. Now it's a matter of whether Emma Baker has a fast enough lap time to get into that A main as well. As we already see Danny D looking on the outside into the third hairpin on this track. That would be turn 4. But Baker also putting on a little bit of blocking maneuvers, taking the center of the track, trying to eliminate any sort of passing areas where Danny D can get by. But now the only driver to hit a 37 in this one would be your race leader, Mark L. He has a 37.649. Double lap time out of Mark L there. He now sits miles ahead of Firefighter. He is over 3.5 seconds ahead as we're already 11 laps into this one. Oh boy, that is Emma Baker still maintaining her position. But my goodness. Lap being Emma Baker on Danny, so we'll have to see if there's any bad blood out there now. Of course, there is no guarantee that Emma Baker makes it into the A main. It's only going to be the top 3 drivers that have that guaranteed spot and the fastest 4th place finisher across the 3 qualifying races. But now 2 to go goes out, that being to Mark L. So we shall see if he's able to hold on to this one, as we see in the back. There's one driver there getting the blue and yellow, not quite giving it up just yet, but the battle for the sort of transfer spot, not quite the transfer spot, really tightening up as already Markel. He received the white flag one more time around for him. He's now 4.5 seconds ahead of, now 5 seconds ahead of Firefighter, so he looks to be home free. So we're gonna turn our attention now to the battle for P4. Emma Baker still blocking, coming. But meanwhile, coming through the carousel for the final time, that would be Mark L. He will take the checkered flag and win the first qualifier. And now coming through the carousel for the final time, we'll see if Emma Baker is able to hold off Danny D. Yes, she will. So she will have to wait and see if that 4th place finish, that 38.437 will be enough. Her spot. Or your top 5 in this one would be Mark L running away with it, really. He finished over 5 seconds ahead of Firefighter. Firefighter, of course, sitting down in P2. Then it's, I believe, Passmaster sitting, followed, of course, by Emma Baker. Rounding out your top 5 will be Danny D. Finishing down in P6, we have Boosted Savage. And in P7, we have Steve-O. P8 is going to be Peppers. Buko is going to be finishing in P9. The Logs, I believe he will see himself finishing in P10. So I believe H. Berto did get moved down 1 spot there as a result of that blue and yellow. That was never divided to. So we shall see if there's any bad blood between those two. But as we get prepared for the second of 3 qualifiers tonight, we shall see who takes the win in this. Stay tuned, folks. Carts beginning to roll on the track as we see one of the track marshals, that being Ty, of course, giving us a wave over here on the bridge. But yeah, it's the second of two qualifiers going out. We have some heavy hitters in this one, even more so in the third one, it appears. We see P57, Nasty, and of course the guy making his long-awaited return, that is Karsten. So one of those four top dogs could potentially see themselves out of the A main. Of course, we'll have to see who qualifies where, so it's no guarantees they all qualify top four. We see some other solid drivers in this one, those being Blue Moon, who made the A main not too long ago. I believe one of the karts actually died on the track there, that in turn 2, so he will be able to get his kart refired back up, I believe, before the leader crosses. Yes, he will get his kart refired. But already in this one, 30.786. He ran a 2 straight 37s. So in that, we'll see if he can run away in that one there. I believe that's the same card that Mark L took the aim, or not the, excuse me, the first heat race. That being part 19, of course, as they just start to wrap up their third of 3 laps. JP57 continues to improve. He sits at the top of your leaderboard with a 37.709, followed then by Goal 87. That's a driver that, quite frankly, I've never heard of. He sits in P2, 38.165 out of him, so he'll start on the front row. Carson, in his return, he's already in P3, so 38.245 out of Karsten. Sitting down in P4 is going to be Nasty, so it's going to be tough for him. He needs to guarantee by running a quit lap here. And then sitting in P5 is, of course, going to be Left. So he'll need to move up at least 2 spots to guarantee himself an A main starting spot. He could see himself being the odd man out here as he sees 4 tough drivers ahead of him. Now that I look at it, I believe Goal 87, I believe he's one of the drivers who regularly completes in your 100th lap events here at OTK. But yes, Left rounds out your top 5. Kyle 88 is in P6. Tried-out, a regular here at OTK. He's starting in P7. Blue Moon sits down in P8 though. Bella, I believe, starts in P9, and Dunk rounds out your field in the top 10 as they go under the bridge. We're clean flag racing in the second qualifier. Already some shuffling in the middle of the pack. That sees Karsten in to P. So Goal 87 drops from P2 down to P5 before they even reach the start-finish stripe, as now Tried-out in the back of the pack. He's going around, not quite, gets stuck in a wall just a hair. So he dropped a couple of spots there as well. And now looking to run away with this thing, it's going to be JP57. And as I alluded to before, Karsten making his, once again, long-awaited return. He sits in P2 after the first lap. Has jumped up a couple of spots into P3. So if he's able to hold on to that spot, he will guarantee himself a spot in the A main, but it's going to be a tough ask because he has Nasty caught on his bumper. As now Gull right behind Nasty, he makes a little bit of a slip up going into turn 4, the hairpin there. So now there's a slight gap between those top 4 and Gull sitting in P5. But yes, already after lap 2, that is JP57 already pulling out to a 2. So he's already home free as it looks to be. He's already ran a 37.690, so not quite topping what Mark L has ran just yet. But again, we're only 2 laps into this one, so it's not going to take too much for JP to really get an extra 10th out of that guard there. Of course, Mark L running a 37.574 as we look at yes, he is at least start front row if he can hold on to the race win of this one. JP just ran at 37.493. Karsten, Left, and Nasty. Those 3 guys have had a large history. The OG team trilogy right there. You're sitting P2, 3, and 4 respectively. So we'll have to see if any of those guys will be the odd man out, or if Gull can actually catch back up to Nasty. If he's already himself on the better corner, away to the turn 4 now, after having that slip up earlier. He sees himself potentially looking to make a dive, puts the bumper on Nasty there through the new hairpin. Not quite gonna get the job done. As JP57 continues to improve, he has a 37.472, so almost exactly 1/10 of a second quicker than what Mark L ran just one lap or one race prior. Now it's a matter of whether Nasty can actually hold on to the spot there, or if Gull can make his way by. They're both quicker than Emma Baker's lap time of a 38.437. As a matter of fact, the only driver to not top that lap time would be your guy sitting in P10, the last driver in the field. That would be Dunk, who's only at a 39.659. So it looks to be Emma Baker's A-main hopes. They look to have dried up in this one here. So she'll, at the very least, see herself starting on the front row of the B-main. As we continue to look at that battle for P4, between Nasty and Gull 87. So whichever way it goes here, it's going to be a very, very respectable drive out of Gull 87 to be in the same, really the same part of the track as Nasty, Left, and Karsten. That's a very respectable thing to say. Those guys are legends here today. But meanwhile, at the front of the pack, JP57 continues to run away in this one. Just over halfway through this race, he's already pulled a 6.5 second gap over Karsten. Really, the battle for P8, that being between Tridout and Bella. Just halfway smooth on Bella. So we'll have to see how long that lasts for him. As I alluded to previously, he is a regular here at OTK. He comes in just about every Thursday. He loves his pro karts here at OTK, I'll tell you that much. But meanwhile, still at the front of the pack, we're 10 laps into this one. That being JP57, he still leads. He actually ran a 37.332. So he's sitting pretty consistently in the 37.3s now. He just ran yet another 37.3. So even with the added weight, he's hitting the best lap times that we saw in the practice races. But now we look behind him, just a few spots, that being once again the battle for that position still tightening. That being between Nasty and Goal, as Goal looking to the inside, giving him the bumper through the carousel. Will Goal get clear? Yes, he will. Goal 87 gets clear of Nasty, as Nasty proceeds to then put the bumper to him. Yes, Nasty will get the blue and yellow. So Nasty will have to drop back to Goal. He continues to not give the spot back just yet. And now it's a roll black, so I'm not quite sure what it's going to be. Is it a blue and yellow or is it a roll black? I'm not quite sure just yet. But now the battle becomes a battle between Nasty and Blue Moon. As yes, it remains a blue and yellow flag being to Nasty. So he will still have to drop back down to Goal 87 as we see the white flag go out. One more time around for JP57. He just ran a 37.289. What a lap out of him. That would be your day record here today. But Nasty continues to not give the spot back all the way to Goal 587. He only gave one spot back. But that's Blue Moon in now gives the spot all the way back to Goal 87. So now we see Nasty down at P7. So he was doing his best to hold on to that spot. But yes, we see the checkered flag already fly for JP57. Excuse me for not really paying too much attention to the checkered flag there. JP57 really ran away with that one. He was 10 seconds ahead of Karsten, followed then by left. So left will be the last of the drivers to guarantee himself an A-main spot. We'll have to see if Blue Moon's 38.275 can guarantee himself into the A-main yet again. This one followed then by Karsten. Left will round out the last of your guaranteed A-main spots. Blue Moon will have to play the waiting game for this third qualifier to see if his 38.275 will be enough to get him into the A-main. Kyle 88 will round out your top 5. Goal 87 with a very respectable drive, but not so much a respectable position. but we can't discount the drive that he had. He finishes down in P6. Nasty finishing down in P7 after putting the bumper to goal 87 and getting the blue and yellow flag. The timing board continues to mess with me, so yeah, get that whole thing situated for the future. Here we are. We have your final finishing spots. That going to Tridout in P8, Bella finishing in P9, and Dunk rounding out your field in P10. So we'll have to keep really an eye on whoever finishes in P4 in this final race. We'll have to see if it's better than a 38.275. So keep that number in your head, folks, as we get prepared for the final of We're getting prepared here for the third of 3 qualifiers here tonight to set up your A, B, and your C main. As I alluded to before, it's been a long time since we had a C main here at OTK, but it's always a good sight to see this many drivers all striving to get that A, B, tag. So if you thought that last qualifier was a tough one, this one could prove to be even more difficult. As we see Gone Racing, we see last week's A main winner Lurchy in this one as well. Crypto, another guy that's in this one. Martinsville Muffin, Quad B, number 1 Dad, he started in your top 5 just last week, so we'll have to see how he does this week. But some really big heavy hitters going in this one. I do apologize if my voice starts to go a little bit dry. I've been talking practically non-stop here for what seems to be almost an hour. I don't know if that's quite an hour just yet, but we'll have to see. But already on lap 1, we see Crypto. He also in kart 19, and he will be potentially starting on the pole in this one, the 37.748. So that 19 looks to be the kart to beat tonight. Perhaps it just has a different life here in the damp conditions, or perhaps that's just the kart 19 for you. We'll have to see how Crypto does tonight. We'll have to see if he's actually able to hold on to get himself back in that top 5 starting spot yet again. We saw him there just a few weeks ago. Actually saw him on the pole just a few weeks alongside, as I said before, left. As it stands, number 1 Dad, he's still in P2 at the moment. Not to be outdone though. That would be Gone Racing as it stands. They're changing positions left and right now. So it's still Crypto in P1 on the pole in this one, but now Martinsville Muffin starting in P2, followed then by Gone Racing starting in P3. Number 1 Dad now starting in P4, so another great 5 starting spot in this one will be Quad B, so a great starting spot for him. Flash, he is going to be starting in P6. I believe GTSR starting in P7 in this one. So a bit of a surprise to see Lurchy not crack even the top 5, not even the top 7. He's starting down in P8. So yes, after top 5, it goes Art, then Lurchy, then Sala, and then rounding out your field will be Chino. But yes, last week's A main winner will have a lot of work to do to even see himself. He needs to make up at least 4 spots to even have a chance here. As we get rolling here, the green flag flies. We're underway in the 3rd qualifier. Already all alone now in the lead is going to be Crypto, followed then relatively closely by Martinsville Muffin. And then in the back of the pack, we actually see a little bit more beating and banging. I believe that coming from Slash 65. So he drops quite a number of spots. He drops, I believe, from P6 all the way down for Lurchy. Actually, no, he still maintains P8. And meanwhile, on the front of the pack, number 1 Dad has already overtaken Gone Racing for P3. So could we see yet another A main? I don't know if he quite has enough pace there to catch up to Martinsville Muffin, but we'll have to see. Meanwhile, at the front of the pack, though, Crypto, he already has ran a 37.6 on his first lap. He continues to pull away now from Martinsville Muffin. Battle for realistically the transfer spot here. Number 1, Dad and Gone Racing, they're both fighting really hard. Gone Racing giving him a little shove through turn 1. Nothing doing there. We already see number 1, Dad putting a little blocking maneuvers on Gone Racing as he looks to make the dive there. That being Gone Racing, yes, he'll get the job done, albeit with a slight bump, but he will get through there cleanly. Gone Racing now into P3s. Already looking to make some blocking maneuvers. He's pretty good at that sort of thing, as we've seen in the past. Meanwhile, in the back of the pack, Lurchy trying to make anything happen wherever he can. He might actually get caught out now as he tries to get by Gino. Yes, he will get caught out. He now drops down. So it looks like it will not be Lurchy's day in this one. It looks like he will not make his way back into that A main spot, let alone the B main. So a shocking turn of events for your A main winner just last week. Front of the pack, Crypto continuing to run fast lap time, and after fast lap time, a 37.485 out of Crypto. And if Martinsville Muffin can hold on to P2 here, he's beat Karsten's time. He sits at a 37.791. So if he's able to hold on to P2, which shouldn't be too tall of an ask, he's 3 seconds ahead of Gone Racing down in P3. He will inside your top 5. So the only 3 drivers to hit a 37 in this one, those being your top 3. That being Crypto, Martinsville Muffin, and Gone Racing, as Crypto continues to improve. He's down now to a 37.4. Up to P7 on the leaderboard. He needs to drop just about 0.2 of a second. So that's going to be a tall ask for him. It'll be a tall ask for anyone to catch JP57 here tonight. Meanwhile, at the back of the pack here, Lurchy still fighting to even hold on to second to last. He's still holding on for dear. Doesn't finish last in this one. That's a bit of a shock. There continues to be a 4-cart train for P7. So if he can actually make his way into P7, he could, by some sheer dumb luck, get himself into the B main. But he needs to get it done quick, as we've already passed half in one. Continue. He's pulled out to now a 2.5 second gap over Martinsville Muffin, and then it's about 3 seconds now between Martinsville Muffin and Gone Racing. as now we see a lot of bumping, that being from Lurchy on Sala. Funny, I mentioned this to Quad B in the pre-race, but Sala is very much Quad B's look-alike. But now coming to 5 to go, coming through the carousel. Crypto sees that board. It's now 5 to go in this one. Continuing to run hard though in the back of the pack still, it's Lurchy. He looks to maybe get by Sala, but meanwhile, Sala is going to be Chino. He's a little ahead of Sala. I'd say a little over. It looks a little bit more than a little over half a second. Where it really starts to tighten up and through the light bulb, and then Chino starts to pull away down the front stretch. Crypto still moving now to a 34.5, so he will at the very least guarantee himself a spot on the front row, but he'll have to drop yet again another couple of tenths if he wants to take the pole yet again. A very uneventful race though from GTSR. He's sitting in P6, but he's all alone out there. He sits 7 seconds behind of Quad B in P5, and then 11, now 13 seconds ahead of P7. So he's 7 seconds back of P5 and 13 ahead of P7. So he is in his own world out there. Now, continuing to run. Lurchy continuing to look every which way to try and get by Sala here. Looks like he's giving them the bumper wherever he can. But coming through the carousel, Crypto through the kink. He sees the white flag fly one more time around for Crypto. As has been the story of the night, 19 kart has taken all 3 pending. Crypto's victory here is taken all 3 qualifying victories tonight. As through the carousel for the final time, he's a checker flag though, in the race win in the 3rd qualifier tonight. With a 37.445, he will start on the front row in P2, and JP57 with a 37.259. He will be your pole sitter tonight. Martinsville Muffin sitting down in P2 in this 3rd qualifier. He ran a 37.737. So he will fit in P5. He will be your last driver in the top 5. He will start in P4. Firefighter, your last driver in the top 5. So your top 5 going into the A main. It will be JP57, followed then by Crypto. Mark L is going to be in P3. Then it will be Martinsville Muffin. And rounding out your top we are going. So we're getting prepared soon here for the A main. We're gonna have a little bit shorter of an in-between time for this one. We're gonna have to get the interviews going pretty shortly here. We'll probably be back in just about 5 minutes or so, should everything go according to plan. Be back very shortly. Stay tuned.
What?
Carts until the top 5 are done. Because if the carts get started, so we're live here as they start to pick their chips. We got JP57 here. Let's come over this way. So JP57, which cart did you pull, JP?
19.
So how are you feeling?
Pretty good.
Think you're gonna shake and bake with Martinsville Muffin here and get it done?
Hopefully.
He's got 15 pounds extra weight in his cart, so we'll have to see. We'll have to see how he does here. Starting in P2 in this one, it's gonna be Crypto. Which card did you pull there?
Number 8, I have no good feeling about number 8. I have no idea what it's all about, but I'm going to extract everything out of it and do the best I can.
Well, best of luck to you, Crypto.
Thank you. Bye, YouTube.
Mark L.
Hey, what's up, man?
Rounding out your top 3.
I got the 9. I wish I had a 1 in front of it, so.
Well, I mean, you think you can still hold on to P3 with that?
I don't know. Not with this crowd. I don't know. It's going to be tough. Wish me luck.
Best of luck to you, Mark. Martinsville Muffin.
Hey, what's up, man?
What card did you pull?
I got the same one I got in the heat. I got the number 7.
How are we feeling about that?
Well, I'm hoping that with the number 7 cart, I'll beat the driver of the number 7 SK, who's got the 19. I mean, that thing is so cheated up. It's unbelievable. I mean, 15 pounds, seriously? I mean, that's not enough. He needs to have more than that. But we're going to kick his ass.
Well, best of luck to you, Martinsville Muffin. Because I believe the guy starting in P5, he made his way by us. So, firefighter, we'll have to interview him Karsten instead. So, how are we feeling? What card did you pull?
I pulled a 16. I'm not really sure how it is, but we'll see how it goes.
We'll see how you do. I have a good feeling about it. So, best of luck to you. We're moving on to Gone Racing in this one. Which card did you pull?
I pulled cart 15, and I mean, Carson ran it in his second heat or in his first heat, and he did really well on it. So I'm hoping to just capitalize on that too.
Well, best of luck to you, Gone Racing. There's been a few drivers that have squeaked by me, but we're getting set to go for the A main of this one. So, folks, stay tuned. It's going to be a good one. we're getting prepared to bring you the A-Main tonight. Once again, some very heavy hitters in this A-Main. Perhaps the best of the best, minus Nasty. A bit of a surprise to not see Nasty in the A-Main. Same going with Lurchy. So a couple of surprising drivers who didn't make the A-Main. But once again, your top 5 for this one is going to be JP57, then followed by Crypto on his outside. Markel sitting in P3, Martinsville Muffin sitting in P4, Firefighter rounds out your top 5. Karsten sitting 1 spot out, he starts in P6. Gone Racing, he starts in P7. Passmaster starting in P8. Left down in P9, and then number 1 Dad for the 2nd consecutive week, he makes an A-Main and perhaps a more respectable showing. Given all the talent we have here tonight, sure, he made the top 5 just last week, but making an A-Main in this one was going to be a far taller order. But we're getting the go-ahead from the track marshal. We're back. They're under the bridge. Boogity, boogity, boogie. Let's go racing, boys. Some beating and banging already. We see some carts in the wall, but there's still 2x2. Markel getting shuffled a little bit further back now. He's now down in P4. Martinsville Muffin up 1 spot. That is, oh boy, that's a hard lick. That P1 down. Had a load of roadblocks. It almost looked like he was just pointing it at everyone there. That was the track marshal. Has left already looking to make a dive on Firefighter. He will get the job done, so we'll have to see now as he sits in P5 if he can make his way up the pack. But even more so, we'll have to see if JP57 with 15 extra pounds in that 19 cart, we'll have to see if he can hold on to that race lead and the race win. So far, he's already out to a huge lead already. He's already out to a 1.5 second lead. Sitting in P2 now is Martinsville Muffin. He's driving as he's at the number 7 cart, the same cart that he had in his heat. So both of those top 2 have the same carts that they ran in their heat races. But even more ironic, as he alluded to in his interview, Martinsville Muffin driving the 7, trying to catch the driver of SK Modified number 7, that being JP57. So, of course, they're somewhat rivals on the track, but really good friends in reality. As we already see now, Karsten, he's dropped all the way down to P9. What happened there? I believe there was a little bit of contact there from Firefighter. He now sits, I believe, in P6. Meanwhile, a battle for P4, that would be Crypto, once again getting by Markel and left. So now Crypto sits in P3. JP57, meanwhile, at the front of the pack, he still continues to run fast lap after fast lap. He ran a 37.5. Despite a little bit of displeasure being shown by a left there, I believe that was a clean pass. He gave him a little bit of a bump, but it wasn't nothing too bad. He did get a roll black for it, but I don't think it was anything too bad there from Crypto, as he now looks to continue to run away from left in P3 and hopefully hold on to his podium finish. And now sitting right behind left in P5, that would be Mark. So it's been a really good battle between these 3 as Crypto chips, by the looks of things, left, but it's not going to work out too well for him as he now drops 2 spots. Left and Markel both So now Lex sits on the podium spot. He's in P3. Markel now in P4. As meanwhile, in the back of the pack, we see a little bit of bump in there. That being from Karsten on Firefighter. So a bit of retaliation, it would seem, for the earlier maneuvers through turns 1 and 2. Roll black there goes to Karsten for that, but all in all, he will actually now just get passed by Passmaster. So a bit of a surprise to see Passmaster this far down in the pack. We'll have to see how many more spots he can make up. It's going to be a tough ask because from P3 down to P6, they're all in one big gap, and then it's a pretty long wait until you're down to P7. JP57 continuing to run away with this thing, but oh boy, who just took out Firefighter there? That's in turn 1. Who's the one? We'll have to see. I don't know if there's going to be any. Is there going to be any roll black or blue and yellow as a result of that? So far, no flags, but Firefighter definitely did get punted. We'll have to see if that was once again off the bumper of Karsten. Meanwhile, Crypto continuing to fall further and further back. He's now putting some blocks on, I believe that's Gone Racing for P5. He's looking to now hold on to just the top 5. Not too long ago, he was looking to hold on to a podium finish. As he now puts Gone Racing in the wall, that wasn't too good there from Crypto. He's trying anything he can. That wasn't too big of a fan from that move there. He might actually have to give the spot back as they see the official holding out the flag, maybe. No, it will not have to. He will not have to give the spot now. We have caught up to Crypto. So of course those back 3, aside from Firefighter, now it's a battle for the top 5 between P5 down to P9. So just when we thought there wouldn't be a battle, there absolutely is now. Those top 4 are really in their own world though, as JP57 out having crossed halfway. He sits all alone in the muffin, 3.8 seconds back, almost 4 seconds back of first place here. Left still holding on to P3, 8 seconds back of first place. P4 belongs to Mark L, so he's doing a good job of holding on to his top 5 starting spot despite not really being all too confident in himself. He's doing a good job holding on to it. Crypto really putting on some hefty blocks. He's getting bumped left and right, not just from Gone Racing, but from all those drivers who sit behind him. We'll have to see if Gone Racing ships him. No, he'll put the bumper to him though. Definitely put the bumper to him for sure. And through the carousel, he definitely still puts the bumper to him. Is that going to be real clean? He's clear. Is he going to have to get that spot back? It looked like it might have been a bump and run. Oh, it's going to be clean pass from Gone Racing. He now sees himself in the top 5. The movement now between those 3 sitting right behind that battle, that being from number 1 Dad and Karsten. Passmaster just a spectator of this battle, trying to see who goes where and potentially follow behind all the chaos here. And despite all of really not made up any ground, he still sits in P10. He's still 6 seconds back of P9. So we see some roadblocks going out left and right in the back of the pack here in that three-car battle between number one Dad, Karsten, and Passmaster. But still, in front of the pack, here left. You can see left having a little bit of fun trying to give some high fives to the marshals. I don't know if that's all too good of an idea though, as Markel's still closing lap after lap. I'm not so sure he realizes it yet though. But now with 5 laps to go, JP57 still with the 37.5. Martinsville Muffin with the 37.6, so not too far off his pace. Still though, 4.6 seconds back of JP57 in P1. So it's a bit of a surprise to see the field as spread out as it is in this one. I really thought it would be the best of the best, and sure, it was definitely a tough ask to make the A-main here tonight, but to see the field this spread out, a bit of a surprise. Yeah, it definitely helps that Crypto was putting on as many blocks as he was. He really was the catalyst for spreading the field out as much as it did. And now, lap 17 out of 20 here for JP57. Next time by, he'll see 2 to go. We now look in the back of the pack. That's Karsten making a pass there, putting the foot in the wall. As we see the marshals talking with one another. Actually, no, even more so. He sees a waving black flag going out to Karsten. So as they alluded to in the drivers' meeting, the blacks, if you get one more after those, you are up. You have to come down into pit lane, so your day is done. So yes, Karsten with the waving black flag. He will stay out on the racetrack for now. So we shall see how he gets penalized here. But now, the white flag flies for JP57 one more time around. Martinsville Muffin now, just now crossing the start-finish stripe. The waving black flag still continues to fly for Karsten down in P9 as he finally pulls in the pit lane, coming through the carousel for the final time. It's not going to be a waving black flag, but a waving checkered flag for JP57. He will take the A-main victory tonight. Down in P2, it's going to be Martinsville Muffin 5 seconds back. Left will round out your podium here tonight. On his last lap, he actually got his best lap of the day at 37.625. On Racing, rounding out your top 5 as we see a battle in the back of the pack there. Almost a photo finish at the line. That being between Passmaster and number 1 Dad. That was a battle for P7 there. Crypto, meanwhile, finishes in P6. Passmaster is able to hold off number 1 Dad for P7. Of course, number 1 Dad now in P8. Firefighter in P9. And then Karsten with that waving black flag. He had a DNP. DSQ, a disqualification from this one. He will be in P10. So we've seen a lot of firsts in a while. First C main in a while. We've seen our first waving black flag in a while. But your A main winner in this one, JP57. He sweeps both his heat race and his A main victory here tonight. A flag to flag flawless victory from him here tonight. As we get set to go for the B main, they're going to start drawing their chips very shortly here tonight. Stay tuned here, folks. We'll be back very shortly. the first of the carts, or now as the last of the carts, pull out of pit lane. We're already getting set to bring you the B main here tonight. Now, of course, typically the B main would be the last car race, and at the conclusion of the B main, we will have our C main. Of course, all things considered, it will be a relatively early night for many of these drivers, given that C main in years past, and in months past, I should clarify, I would see these guys getting out of here at 10 p.m., maybe even later. But tonight, only just about 9:10 p.m. Race will probably take us until a little bit after 9:20, maybe 9:25. So any of these drivers in the C main will getting out via welcome sight. B main, your starting order for this one: Blue Moon sits on the pole, followed then by Emma Baker on his outside. Danny D sits in P3 with Quad B. He'll sit in P4 with that Kart 19, a kart that has dominated the night tonight. It has gone undefeated tonight. So we'll have to see if he can keep that hot streak going, with Kyle 88 sitting right behind him in P5. Goal 87 will start in P6. Boosted Savage in P7. GTSR in P8. Nasty sits down in P9 in Kart 9, so we'll have to see how he does. Sibo rounds out your field. The green flag waves. We're underway in the B mains. Already some contact there from P2 on back. But Blue Moon already clear in the lead here, as we're already all single file in this one. We'll have to see who does anything, as now Nasty actually sees himself drop a couple of spots. He's now down in P10. So he told me pre-race he was going to make this thing interesting. Now he's got to drive from the back to the front. We'll have to see if he can do it in this one. He certainly has the talent to do it. He's in, at the very least, he's in P2 in the Sodi World Series standings here at OTK. As he continues to get blocked there by, I believe that's Steve-O. It's going to be a tough ask for him. He's literally going to have to drive from P10 all the way up to P1 if he's going to get the job done. And meanwhile, in the front of the pack, Blue Moon, he's already starting to run away now from Emma Baker. Quad B now caught on the bumper of Danny B. We'll have to see. I believe he should have an extra 15 pounds in his cart as well, so we'll have to see how he does with that thing. As he maybe looks to make the dive. No, he'll, for lack of a better term, he'll chicken out of it there. Not quite gonna make the dive. Meanwhile, Nasty in the back of the pack, he's the only one, aside from your leader, Blue Moon, with the 30-70. He holds on to the fastest lap in this race so far. But once again, to make it by 8 drivers, that's not going to be an easy ask for Nasty, even someone as good as Nasty. At the front of the pack, Blue Moon continuing to spread that gap. Very much so. He's already pulled a 1.6 second gap over Emma Baker in P2. Danny D still in P3. Quad B yet to make another dive attempt on him for that podium spot. continues to run single file here. Not all too much action going on in this one so far. Looks like Danny D is actually getting a relatively decent drive off corner exit. But then where Quad B seems to catch is through the corners. He puts the bumper there and believes it's GTSR. We'll have to see if he has to get that spot back. Yes, he will. The balloon yellow too nasty. He'll have to get that spot back. He will relatively quickly here. But as Blue Moon crosses the stripe here, we'll let the karts do the talking for one lap. Final driver crosses the stripe. Be a little bit more action here now as Quad B makes it by Danny D there. D2 and being Emma Baker, so it's going to be a great battle between Emma Baker and Quad B. Always good to see these two fighting on track here. Of course, they got married earlier this year, so congratulations to them. Now as they reach halfway, Blue Moon is still running away with this thing. He's 3 seconds ahead of Emma Baker in P2. As now we see a lot more diving. Oh, good Lord, what is going on here? That sees Nasty gain 2 spots in one corner. He's now up to 7. But it might be 2 spots just a little bit too late. We have rolled black, I believe that going out to goal 87. Oh my goodness, was trying to cross over, I believe. Quad B is already, once he got past Danny D there, 4 people. Emma Baker's bumper, he ran the fastest lap of the race of 37.577. That coming the lap after he got by Danny D, so we'll have to see if he can get by Emma Baker here quickly. Could we see him keep that undefeated streak in the 19 alive? It'll be a tough ask as he still sits 4 seconds back of Blue Moon with just 8 laps to go. Now, of course, we all know if he takes his wife out, it will be a long car ride home. So I don't know whether or not he'll try to do anything too dirty here or try anything too crazy. He might be content with a double podium. But meanwhile, at the front of the pack, Blue Moon's still running consistent 37-second lap times. And yes, just as I thought, I believe Quad B is giving Emma Baker some shunts down the straightaways, trying to give her some extra speed, trying to see if they can both collectively catch Blue Moon. I don't know if it's quite going to be enough, though. But a very respectable drive already there from Nasty. He sits now in P5. Very impressive drive for Nasty. Just as I thought, I believe Quad B is perfectly content with sitting right behind Emma Baker here. But as we say that, though, doesn't really want to look behind him now, as Danny D is hot on their tails, as we now see 5 to go for Blue Moon. GTSR, meanwhile, in the back of the pack, he's in P7. He just ran the fast lap of the race. Yes, now that battle for P2 now is really tightening. Now Nasty sees himself in the conversation. The bumper now to Quad B. So now it becomes a matter of whether Quad B is like, all right, I gotta get by you. Now I gotta work my way past to the look. Will he push Nasty out wide? Not quite enough to bumper Nasty. Maybe. Yes, he will see himself clear. Yes, into the double hairpin. Now with 3 to go, Nasty sits in P3. So a very respectable drive. What 7 from earlier in the race? A lot more chaos in the back of for P5. We now see 2 to go out for Blue Moon. Oh my goodness, what a drive there from Nasty. Not quite giving us the fireworks that he promised. But at the very least, he could see himself in P2. He makes his way as oh my goodness. What happened there? I have no idea what happened there. Definitely something bad. The white flag flies one more time around for Blue Moon. That was a heavy hit on Danny D. Or by Danny D, I believe, on goal 87 there. Where he was on the track and just careened into goal 87 there, but now he might get caught out by Quad B, but through the carousel for the final time, Blue Moon, he will see the checker flag. Blue Moon takes the B main victory tonight. But meanwhile, through the carousel, Nasty makes his way by Emma Baker. A +8 for him. He will finish P2. Nasty finishes P2 in this one. Emma Baker in P3. Quad B finishes down in P4. Not quite able to hold on to his podium. Not able to make that 19 undefeated tonight. In your top 5, we have Boosted Savage. Sitting down in P6, we have GTSR, Goal 87 down in P7, Kyle 88 finishing in P8. Danny D drops a boatload of spots in this one. He drops from P5 with just 5 to go down to P9, and then rounding out your field is going to be Steve-O in P10. So what a great drive there by Blue Moon. He ran away with this thing, finishing 10 seconds ahead of Nasty, but even more so, a very impressive drive. Steve making on in this one all the way up to finish in P2. Yes, a great drive there by Blue Moon to take the B main victory tonight. Some congratulatory fist bumps there going in pit lane. But coming up very shortly, we will have the C main go out. Stay tuned, folks. Set to bring you the C main here tonight. We have a little bit of a shortened field, I believe. Let me clarify this. I stand corrected. Everyone is here for the C main. It's not often that happens. We have everyone show up for the C main here tonight. But with the C main going out just as I anticipated, right around 9:25 here tonight, they're all getting out of here relatively early. So we'll have to see who takes the C main victory here. We have Gino, I believe, starting in P1, followed then by Tridel. Peppers, he'll round out your top threes. Sala will start P4. Bello will round out your your top five. Buko will start in P6 in that 19 card, so we'll have to see how he can do. He won the B main just last week. We'll have to see if he can make it 5 out of 6 victories for the 19 card here tonight. Lurchi down in P7, last week's A main victor. As I say that, I look down at the lineup. They've actually both dropped to the back of the field, those being Lurchi and Buko. But as it stood, Flash would start in P8, Dunk in P9, the Logs in P10, Humberto would be in P11. No, I green flag waves. I'm so the starting procedure was, especially for starting on the front row. He got going a little bit too quickly there, but that now sees Stridel in the lead before they even finish the first lap. As now, man, some beating and banging. Oh boy, everyone in the wall through turns 1 and 2. This is gonna be your classic main. We'll have to see how Buko does in this one. He's already dropped back a few spots, gained a few, and then dropped back subsequently a few more. Lurchi now already up to P5, so already a very impressive drive up the path for him. Not all too surprising, all things considered. He can make it up potentially to fight for the lead as he now looks to dive. Oh man, Lurchi cleans out 2 drivers. 3 carts stuck in the wall now at the new hairpin. Oh my goodness, Lurchi takes out, I believe that is Peppers and maybe Humberto? Berto? I'm not quite sure. No, that is Bella that he took out as well. So a 2-for-1 special. All of the spots that he just gained gone in an instant. So now we look to see how Buko does in that 19 cart. He won the B main, as I said earlier. He won the B main last week. We'll have to see if he can do something with that cart here tonight. As we now see Bella now. Now I'm curious to see if he's waiting on Lurchi. Definitely taking a few peeks. I don't know if he's just letting the lead pack by. Yeah, folks, this got me a little bit worried. I don't want to see this here tonight. But I say that now he just wanted to run with his buddy. That being the Logs down in P3. So he's just out there to run some hot laps. potentially see if he can stay in front of the logs, but at the same time, he doesn't want to get himself stuck in the battle. As it seems, that is a battle for position between Bucco and the logs, that being for P3. So now Bucco puts the bumper to Peppers. Peppers, of course, not too pleased by that, but now Peppers being now Bucco looks to make it by, yes he will, that will be Bucco making it by Bella. As he now sets his sights solely on P3, that being the logs. Meanwhile, at the front of the pack, Tridout continues to run away with this thing. He's already pulled a 3.7 second lead over Gino in P2. Lurchy continuing to make his way back up the pack, though. He's pulled on to the fastest lap of the race at 37.328. So a stellar lap time out of Lurchy, but a not too stellar way to make it through the pack, as he, of course, not too many laps prior, he took out the 2-for-1, as now Bucco puts the bumper there to the logs. That is for position. Not going to be a clean pass, but it'll be a pass nonetheless as he goes through turn 4. He will get the roll black for it, but he does see himself through. He now sets his sights on for P2. He does sit a little under 4 seconds back. So we'll have to see how he does here, if he can make it up there and take his second consecutive B-main victory. But we're already 9 laps into this one, so it'll be a tough ask for him as we see more bumping, some more tires spilling. Lurchy now, I believe, he sits now in P6. So he's setting his sights on Flash 65. Also, forgive me for earlier, I said that Bucco was battling with Pepper. Now he was fighting for P5 with Flash 65. So a little bit more roughhousing than I initially anticipated. I thought that it would be Peppers since it's a lap down, but it's not quite. Very similar looking helmets, but not quite the same people, as now Lurchy looks to get by Flash 65 now for P5. Yes, he will. Lurchy now into the top 5. But over this past lap now, he's already now made up just about 1.5 seconds of time on Tridout, but he still sits over 5.5 seconds back. Now dropping down to just 5.1 seconds back. He's a little bit over a half a tenth behind Gino in P2, but that, as we say here at On Track many times, he's right on his bumper. Bumper there through the new hairpin, that on Gino. He's looking to get by him very quickly here to see if he can make his way back into the lead. Will he make the dive? Yes, he will. No, he won't. He looked for it, but it wasn't quite there. Will he try the crossover, the bumper? Will he make the pass? No, he won't. He'll drop back just slightly was not what Bucco wanted to see, but now they're close. They're gaining more and more lap time on Tridout. Tridout still holds on to a 38.709 compared to Bucco's lap time of a 37.8. In the mix. The Harris start finish right. as we apologize. We had a little bit of technical difficulties coming down the stretch in this one. But yes, Lurchie. No, he didn't. What happened on this last lap? Oh my goodness, he made it past. Something must have happened as I was making my way back down to the bridge, back down from the bridge. Lurchy drops from P1 down to P3 as they have a little bit of a disagreement on pit lane. Oh my goodness, what happened? I do apologize for not understanding what happened. But oh my goodness, that would be Trido taking your C main victory. But yes, I believe just before we cut off, of course the phone running out of battery sadly, but Lurchy had made his way by Trido on that last lap. I was not quite sure what happened. But your finishing order is going to be Trido, followed then by Buko. Lurchy finishing down in P3, so not quite sure, again, what happened. Must have been a pass through the final carousel, this one, but alas, Trido taking the race victories. We're starting to wrap things up here at On Track Karting here tonight. Thank you very much for joining us for a very long night. First time in a while that we've had an A, B, and a C main. It's been my pleasure to bring you here tonight for league night at On Track. And Caboose, dining